Welcome to the Joint Base Podcast. If you're new here, we react to everything military. Today is no different. I use my experience with over a decade spent in the United States military, from everything from a combat paratrooper to military intelligence. This by far was the most requested video. This is going to be the second episode of OTTO Bulletproof series that he did on the KSK. Let's get it.
And off we go.
People are probably thinking, what's going on here? We don't have far to go anymore. I was just allowed to accompany commando soldiers during their training.
Why do I keep doing this?
Shooting challenging forces right in the very middle of intense urban combat scenarios, undertaking survival training in the Arctic regions and on the vast high seas, all of these activities taking place in many different climate zones.
Always on point.
In the process, I gained insights as deep and intimate as no one before me. I'm out again with the Special Forces Command very early in the morning. Behind me is still the moon, and behind that, the Air Transport Wing of the Federal Ministry of Defense. The sun is rising over there, and the journey I'm about to embark on is going to be something truly special. We are now heading to the beautiful Key West, Florida. It's an extensive amphibious training exercise on a United States military base with American Special Forces personnel, and absolutely everything will revolve around the crucial topic of amphibious operations.
That's gonna be
Why
awesome.
is this so special
right there in
for
Florida.
me?
That's
I'm an
pretty cool.
enthusiastic diver, and back when I wanted to join the Special Forces, I was determined to get into the amphibious unit. I imagined it would be especially great and would suit me perfectly. Whether that's really the case, we'll see. For now, it's time to check in, get on the plane with the guys, and we'll see each other again in Key West for the amphibious training of the Special Forces Command.
Looks like it worked out for him pretty well, though. I mean, he still gets to do a bunch of cool shit, so I'd say it's a win-win. Dang, those guys fly in class. I lost my clip, so I gotta hold this mic this whole video. Definitely gotta get something better.
Good to see you. Welcome to the Florida Keys. Let's see if we can push you to your limits. Since we know you already have a solid background, I suggest we don't waste any time and go straight to your team.
Yeah, someone told me he had a
The specific place where
background
I'm being welcomed here is the Special
with a unit
Forces
similar
Underwater
to the
Operations School
75th
of the
Regiment.
United States Army. This is where the Army's special units are trained in amphibious operations. Thanks to long-standing exchange programs, the KSK is allowed to use this special training facility for its own training.
Nice.
This already feels like the fifth fence we've driven through. Right at the beginning, there was a lot of money spent on guards and everything. We actually needed special papers just to get through here.
You're getting exclusive
Yeah, I'm
insights
sure.
here. This is a Special Forces facility. Not just anyone is allowed in. All right, Arthur, now let's go to your guys. You'll get your equipment, and then we'll get started right away.
You know, that's what I like about his videos. He's not just, commentating from the sidelines, telling you what they're doing. He's physically in the water with them, doing the same stuff. And that's a cool dynamic.
Soldiers. But everything happens very quickly anyway, because the first training section is already about to begin. Now comes
That
the classic,
multi-turn.
swimming in
Love
clothes.
that. Somebody said
The
that
instructors who are doing this now
the
have
whole
up to
German
20 years of
military has gone to
experience,
that.
and some of them also train in the USA. One of them has spent 4 years training SEALs in the USA. You can tell it doesn't get any better than that, and you won't find better instructors.
Stairs are off limits. That means when you get in and out of the water, you go in quietly, sneak in quietly, and sneak out quietly. So now make sure you push yourself up, just like on the boat. Oh, I'm coming out of the support position, forearm support. The water slowly drains out of the pockets, it runs out of the legs, feet pointing down so it drains out of the legs, out of the pockets, out of all the holes we have there, okay?
Everything calmly, everything quietly, so as not to attract any undue attention, waste any unnecessary energy, or alert anyone at all in any way.
That's pretty quiet.
Next up, we're going to perform an apnea check, which fundamentally involves holding your breath for a sustained period immediately after significant physical exertion. Now, it's important to understand that this is being demonstrated at a very basic introductory level. Highly trained professionals, in contrast, are capable of performing this exercise for considerably longer durations, often extending to several minutes, such as 45 seconds of breath holding, before they calmly and safely surface.
I'm assuming they're like on the first initial step of the KSK training. Is that where they're at in the pipeline? I'm assuming they just got selected and that this is like the first big training block.
The next exercise coming up is IGF swimming, 4 laps back and forth, and then taking off your uniform in the water. First the top, then the bottom, while swimming without holding on to anything and throwing it a certain distance, about a meter, onto dry land. That might
probably pretty
sound
difficult
super
treading water.
easy, but for anyone who hasn't done it before, try putting on some clothes, go swimming in them, and after some exertion, it's a whole different story. Take a quick breath, it's exhausting. I actually don't swim much, but your heart rate shoots up when you're taking off your clothes. It's crazy. The guys are all younger than me, most of them anyway. Of course, I know I'm not as fit as all the new
Let's say, what's he, about
recruits,
mid-40s?
but just getting out of the water first up front is already really okay. Next up,
I know him
our
and I were
exercise,
deployed at the
underwater
same
distance,
time.
swimming a full 25 meters. I'm genuinely curious. Normally, this particular event always goes really, really well. We just might have a little bit of fatigue from the previous exercise, but it absolutely has to work.
And y'all were saying that this KSK unit, it's a tier 1 unit, right? Which would make sense why it's a 2-year-long pipeline.
At the very end, just barely made it, but it went quite well. I mean, I can truly dive. We're right in the middle of basic training, which means we just got an introduction, including how to use a diving mask. Luckily for me, I got my diving license when I was 14. I know how to clear a mask if it fills with water, how to put it on, and what to do if I lose it underwater. And now we're moving on to pressure equalization and stabilization, as well as underwater hand signals. Basically, it's foundational training, so instructors can confidently say they can send us into the water at some point.
All right, so let me just take a quick second to let you know a little bit about the membership tab that I just created. Most of you understand that these videos that I'm reacting to are all copyrighted and they're not eligible to be monetized on YouTube. So I created 2 different membership programs. One of them is called the Briefing Room. One of them is called the Command Center. The Command Center is going to be the most expensive. It's also going to give you access to the most things. So I just wanted to point out a few of these things here: loyalty badges, reply to comments, early access to new videos. I think the most important one is the members only live stream. Essentially once, twice a month, I'm going to come live stream, maybe even once a week, with the members of the Command Center, and we'll essentially talk about my previous military experience, some of the agencies that I work with later in life, what I'm currently doing, and what I have planned for the future. If that is something that interests you, feel free to go sign up. I would greatly appreciate it. Definitely support the channel. If not, no worries. Keep watching, and let's get back to the video.
And now the distance dive is 33 meters, so 100 feet within the team. And everyone surfaces at the same time with full gear. You haven't done that before. At the very beginning, diving was done completely solo, without any equipment, then with some equipment, and now with the team in full gear.
This is where it starts getting serious for him, huh? Wonder how long they were here for. Looks like it was all done the same day.
Hold on tightly, inhale deeply and gently close. Inhale slowly, round your back, close your eyes, press firmly against, and now you can comfortably breathe again and slowly come up.
Otto wasn't lying. He looks like he's pretty good at this stuff.
If you use your arms, you'll use up even more oxygen. That's more difficult. It's better to keep them where they belong for all of you as well. Up here in front, I protect my head and my mask so I don't bump into something at night. We don't always dive just in the swimming pool, because if I break my mask here, I'm exposed.
I'm definitely slower if I use my arms.
Definitely.
I didn't catch the signal. Now I somehow have to get there faster. So then...
It's much better here to make bigger, more powerful fin strokes instead of just using your arms, and your arms are simply relaxed in front of you. So if I happen to swim into something, my arms are always the very first thing to hit.
Very, very strong.
Probably not as easy as that looks with all that gear. Yeah, if you haven't seen
Why
the
is it
first one,
especially important to do this particular exercise at night? The KSK basically...
this one looks a little bit slower than the first episode. The first episode was super fun to watch, especially seeing all the tactics that the KSK utilizes, and the that minigun that was on that foiler is pretty sweet too.
operates under the cover of night. That's why it's truly crucial that these essential procedures are carried out as quietly and as inconspicuously as possible.
Pretty quiet. What weapon is it that they're utilizing? And does the KSK use the same weapon that the rest of the German military uses, or is it different?
It's relatively simple. Spray it on, rinse with clean water, remove the whole thing. That's your inspection. If water comes out, what does the engine do? It fills up with water.
Ah, the old Zodiac. We actually used a Zodiac for a recovery mission there in Afghanistan. There was it was about the same time, it was at the end of 2009. There was like a platoon out in the middle of nowhere on a FOB called FOB Todd, which was in Bala Magab, Afghanistan. And essentially, they would get resupplied by airdrop. So this airdrop dropped the load off, the chute opened, and it ended up going into the river. And one of the paratroopers tried to go into the river to recover it, and obviously the current underneath was stronger than he thought it was, and it swept him under. His buddy tried to jump in and save him as well. They both ended up drowning. At that time, we didn't know if they were still alive or if they just floated downstream somewhere. So it was a rescue mission, and we were the quick reaction force for it. So they put us on these CH-47s. We start flying down there, and I was actually a young, dumb private E3 at that time. Got onto the wrong CH-47. And if you know anything about the infantry, like the only thing I could think of the entire time was how much I'm going to get my ass smoked off, right? So the CH-47 lands, we spread out, and it was mass chaos, firefights going on, A-10s, Apache helicopters, just chaos, right? And up to that point, I haven't seen combat. In fact, this is where I earned my combat infantry badge. But the CH-47 that dropped us off, we actually see kind of crash into the fob, and we were never really told why it crashed into the fob. Well, I was reading a book called Level Zero Heroes, written by Marsoc Marine Standpoint, and I found out that the CH-47 that dropped me off, or us off, tried to rescue a bunch of Afghan army guys that just got friendly fired by I think it was an A-10 that actually did the friendly fire. But when it landed to try to rescue them, it got hit with an RPG that did not detonate. And I guess they still had the cone, and it ended up taking off and kind of crash landing into Fob Todd. So it's kind of a crazy start of a mission. And I have tons more stories, but that Zodiac just kind of reminds me of that.
Now we're getting instructions on the boats, how to assemble them, what to watch out for, how stable they actually are. Now we have 3 teams checking if we're doing it right, and the instructors will inspect it. There are a lot of things to consider. I find it really fascinating because you can inflate it by hand with pressure bottles or with a compressor. They have individual chambers, so in theory you could patch them really quickly if you got a puncture, and the boat would still be stable. They're even submersible. So I think it's incredible technology. I'm curious to see what they look like when they're set up.
I'm sure they know the inside and outside of that boat by the time they finish this.
How do I choose that?
We've almost finished setting up the boat now. Of course, there are still a few things with knots, where and how to tie things, but everything is explained step by step here, and I think our boat looks really, really good.
I'd say I've seen submissions sometimes where they actually drop that thing out of the back of a helicopter, like when it's not assembled, and they have to assemble that as they go, which is crazy to think about.
So, initial instruction on the boat, setting it up, taking it down, attaching the motor. We've done all that now, and I think we're getting better and better at it. Of course, it's not as hard to set it up here on dry, solid ground, but we've already heard a bit about what can happen out there. Out there, the motor could go overboard, the boat could capsize, and then we have to try to get everything back in order. I think that's going to be the next level. But of course, we're starting small. The first instruction was really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Now it's time to change into field gear, so into uniform, and then I think we're about to have a very intense water session. The next training section is to go out with the boats as a squad and deepen the things we've just practiced dry so far. Among other things, tactical driving with tactical signals. That is, how do I communicate with the other boats without using the radio, without making noise? That's the way it is in the Bundeswehr or in all militaries, that you use tactical signals. So, How can I communicate over long distances and everyone knows what's meant? Especially now as night is falling. It's almost 7 p.m. now.
Yeah, just kind of talk on that. He's 100% true. I mean, I'm assuming the signals that they're going to use are very similar to what they would use, on a patrol or a night mission. When we were in Afghanistan, we did over, it was like 300 combat missions. Most of those were at nighttime, under nods, walking through villages. You don't necessarily, especially during that time, 2009, I mean, we didn't all have radios. The only people who had radios were the squad leaders and the platoon sergeant, So us guys on the ground, especially at a team level, you're communicating via hand signals. And we'll see if they actually show some of these signals on the boats. I'd be interested to see it.
The whole thing will go on until then. The guys are all equipped with night vision devices because tactical driving also means not using headlights, but communicating in complete darkness with night vision devices, that is, with residual light amplifiers. That's not so easy. You know it from movies and think, wow, that's amazing, but it actually takes away a lot of your vision and a lot of impressions from the outside. As soon as I carefully flip down the night vision goggles, my field of perception somehow significantly narrows because I absolutely have to concentrate a bit more to look through it effectively, and of course you diligently train that in order to get much better.
I'll just talk a little bit about what he was saying. The night vision takes away your depth perception, so meaning that like if I had this cup here, I could touch this cup at the same spot every time. Like I know exactly where it's at without even looking at it. But under night vision goggles, the depth perception's off. So I can't remember if the cup's further away or if it's closer, but it's not where you think it would normally be. So like even walking like over a step or something, it takes some getting used to for sure.
Simply put into practice everything we briefly learned in class. Tactical driving, all the tactical signals, all the commands.
I don't know who his photographer is, but he gets some great shots.
We practice formations. There are different formations for nighttime, and especially with night vision devices, it's really not that easy, especially after a whole day of training. For me, it's simply about the fact that there's always a lead boat, a second, third, and fourth boat, and just different formations for different situations. These could be situations, for example, where I have a soft team with me that needs to be protected, so it goes in the middle and is surrounded, or where I need to spread out wide. What do I do when I come to a river mouth, and so on, with various different scenarios. Everyone takes a turn steering, others sit at the front and keep watching to the night, checking if there are any obstacles in the water. It would be bad to run into something now during initial training, and it just already feels really, really good. I just thought to myself, Otto, it truly is a gift to be allowed to be here.
Oh yeah, this guy, I mean, that's awesome.
At night, in the darkness, the sea has a completely different, I'll call it aura. It's somehow mystically gloomy. And when I think about swimming out there in the dark, that's a whole different story. With that, our training day ends for us today. We started this morning shortly after 7 a.m. And now it's almost 10 p.m. with just 2 very short breaks in between. So here, training really is a non-stop endeavor with, of course, necessary breaks for the boys to look after them properly. I think everyone really deserves some sleep today, so no more, just for now. This evening, we are comfortably back on our beloved boat, and my entire dedicated crew is present for. Today, the protective casing around the back of the propeller has been completely removed, which significantly means we are now considerably faster and more efficient on the water. So, off to new shores. We lay.
When something is loose, it implies a state of freedom or a lack of restraint. Conversely, to hold something means to maintain a firm grasp or keep it secure.
It's funny that they're just out here training, you know, in the Keys. All this civilians around here probably
we have now collected
wondering
a
what
package
the world's
outside.
going on.
Hection means all the boats are hooked together with carabiners. From there, orders are given out. Which boat is leading and which formation is missing.
Now we're going to do this. We're moving in 2 elements. Yankee 1 in front, Yankee follows. Distance to Yankee 1 is 50 meters. We're going to go through a lot of formations now.
Nice, just practicing those formations. Let's see what they...
Something up front as well.
I want to see if they show the signals for the formations would be good too. That kind of just looks like they're going in a file there.
Hello, my friends. This protective guard has been carefully removed to fully expose the drive located at the back. And today, it's a completely different story altogether. Honestly, it truly feels like 3 or even 5 times the speed. Now you really have to hold on tight. So The relaxed times on the boat are over now.
Kind of choppy water. I'm trying to count too.
It's not that
how many
easy to
guys are in
maintain a
that
formation
boat?
with so many boats, especially when the waves are a bit different, but that's exactly what they're practicing here. That was another signal indicating which formation to take, because there are different formations for different situations that need to be executed. Now we're moving in a protected line. We are 4 boats, and the formation we're using now is called diamond.
So they're moving into a diamond, which is exactly like it sounds. You have one in the front, 2 in the side, 1 in the back, except it gives you the option. He was talking about earlier, like a soft unit. A soft unit, like say you're escorting somebody, they would usually go in the center of the diamond.
What is it for? For example, to have a boat in the middle, because the boat command or special forces might need to rescue people in serious or crisis situations. And then you would put the boat with the rescued people in the middle of this diamond, so to speak, to protect them, as they say, the soft parts from any external threats.
And that's not just for on a boat. That you could do that same. They do that same thing
So
on
one
land
boat in
as well.
front,
There's
one
a
on the right,
freaking
the other
cruise
one
ship
on the
right there. Are you
left, and
serious?
one follows behind. What you also have to mention, of course, is that the base is naturally in Key West on its own distinct peninsula. And that truly means when you're out on the expansive waterways here, on the vast sea, there are all kinds of different people, jet ski riders, numerous boats, and even truly huge cruise ships that we frequently pass by, which feels really quite surreal because, well, it's certainly not a drill, but you're constantly moving back and forth in full gear among all the many civilians.
Can you imagine being on that cruise ship, having a drink on the patio, and just look out there, you got those German KSK guys
So
out
guys,
there
there's
on
the
these
cruise ship,
Zodiacs.
Margaretville, Islander, I have no idea. And you just go right past it, directly along the beach or shoreline of Key West. It feels weird. People looking out probably wonder what's going on here.
Pretty close now.
The procedures are familiar, and the swimmers are currently getting dressed for their event. When the swimmers are ready, we'll release the package.
First command issued, how to get to the beach. I need to get ready. We were just holding back until the swimmers made it safely ashore, and now they've pulled us along indeed. Now the package is being released, and we're slowly heading toward land to bring in the proto.
That looks awesome. That's what he used for the thumbnail, right? Look how awesome that looks. Those bags are completely waterproof too, for the rucksack. It also looked like it was buoyant, like it was floating, obviously. That's pretty awesome.
Slower, slower.
We've now been steadily pulled along by the powerful forces up front, heading directly toward the sandy shore. My crucial task now is to carefully get even closer by another 50 meters to safely disembark and then meticulously assemble the boat. We're now just trying to stay level with each other, our aircraft, to land. The distance is now 50 meters. We are approaching the target at 50 meters. The countdown continues with 30 meters remaining. Now at 20 meters, the final approach is underway. Only 10 meters left until the destination.
Just having that capability in a special forces unit is game changer. Trying to find out what kind of sling he's using. It looks like a one-point sling. I was never a big fan of a one-point sling, but then again, I was never out doing this stuff.
First, we're getting out with all the essential gear in the weapon. It's about how I approach the shore, how I scout out the situation without becoming a reconnaissance target, how we cover each other, and above all, how I move so that no one detects me.
Now new equipment, now magic goggles, and now a swimmer who goes all the way out to scout. We're putting it on slowly, and we'll drop into the water in just a moment.
Gotta admit, that looks pretty fun. I'm sure it's not, but the training looks awesome. It'd be really fun to go through.
Now successfully gone ashore, secured the entire area as quietly and stealthily as possible, and have carefully moved into a concealed hiding spot where normally the rest of the others would eventually catch up with us. The main forces...
Alright, we got about 10 minutes left. If you're still here, you gotta let me know down in the comment section that you made it this far. Definitely appreciate you sticking around.
We're currently preparing for the upcoming sea swim in a 5-man team, 3 individuals together, 2 together, with a buoy, not as a swimming aid, but primarily so we can be seen, since there's active civilian sea traffic here and we definitely don't want to get run over. For us, it now means covering a considerable distance of several kilometers within a certain time. Morale is good. I think we'll be on the move for between 2 and 3 hours. The set goal would ideally be to go faster, but it's not about burning out all our energy. It's about arriving together, reaching the right position, hitting the correct point, paying attention to the current, and looking out for our comrades.
Reporting ready now.
Sea swimming is about training to handle long distances in the water with waves and equipment, for missions where you have to land unnoticed from the water.
It truly feels like you're not making any significant progress against the relentless current. Sometimes one person gets swept away, then another individual, and then, quite suddenly, you're all bunched up together again. We've only just started this journey with absolutely no spare lower leg available, which makes things even more challenging.
Yeah, staying in a formation, or, alongside your partner, definitely make it a lot more difficult. one of the videos we talked about navigation in the sea, and it's just
You have to wait a bit for
a
the
whole new
current.
animal.
I'm already swallowing quite a bit of seawater with these waves. But even the very best do. One thing I absolutely have to say, it truly hurts. My joints and instep probably, because the movement with the fins is quite unfamiliar. The muscles are definitely saying, watch out. Sometimes it feels like the target is getting closer, sometimes not at all.
I mean, 2-3 hours is a long time. I wonder how many kilometers they covered in that time frame. I guess it all depends on the current as well.
Not much further to go now. We are approaching the final stretch, which is, I don't know, perhaps 50 or maybe even 80 meters, something along those lines, stretching all the way over here to our destination. However, despite the short distance, they are saying that we will still get pushed in anyway, regardless of how close we are.
Videos and music is always on point too, right? I know I asked the question already, but what is that rifle? Is that something that just KSK carries or the entire military? Let's see. I'm trying to see if it doesn't even look like it's got a sight on it either.
And it looks like we're actually the first ones from our group, but we also didn't take any breaks at all in between. I can say it was definitely exhausting, but I know that at the very beginning of training, there were already people who said they do this every morning, so it really put a strain on the ankle joint on the front of the team. But honestly, it was also kind of fun because you're constantly in this sort of mission, swimming side by side, making sure you keep the right height, that you're heading straight for the shore, calculating the current, the waves always slapping you in the face, salt water going all the way up your nose and everything. You really swallow a lot of salt water. So there's definitely quite a significant bit of action involved in this whole process too, and it's truly a lot of fun. I'm genuinely happy and incredibly proud that we successfully made it through, and apparently we did so exceptionally well, exceeding expectations. Right now, at this very moment, we are diligently getting our boat completely ready and thoroughly prepared so that we can smoothly and efficiently execute the upcoming roll-dock procedure. What that specific procedure precisely means is that we will carefully and deliberately drop into the water with the boat, essentially simulating the critical scenario of being deployed from a helicopter, and then immediately afterward, getting the boat fully operational and completely ready for use again while it is in the water. The boat no longer has any air, and the engine is packed watertight, and all the equipment as well. Of course, we're practicing this now during the day, but in a real emergency, something like this would happen at night out in the middle of the sea with waves, then the whole thing looks very different.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about these guys jumping out of the back of a helicopter, assembling that in the middle of the night with the waves, still having to get to their location. And then once they get to the location, that's when the mission essentially starts. And then coming back to the boat, navigating back out to sea, getting picked back up. Like it's just crazy to think about.
Please, that's approximately 3 centimeters above the surface. Our boat is packed up, and now we're heading out to the water at the marina. For the initial training, it will be thrown into the water. I'm not sure if that's the right term for the report, but we do it too, and then we have to see if we can put everything back together in the water, set it up, make it operational and seaworthy.
Ensuring that the seal is broken safely and efficiently.
fields are securely and properly affixed to their designated positions on the apparatus, verifying their stability. Furthermore, please make certain that the red flare is safely and correctly inserted into its designated
That translation, it did that on the first episode as well. I think that has something to do with AI.
Detaching them with precision from their current connections, and if you find that you have sufficient time available, please proceed to attach the hoses, ensuring they are firmly and securely connected to their respective outlets, preventing any leaks. You should be aware that the engine will receive its necessary fuel supply in just a moment, allowing it
Say how they're going to get the water out of the boat.
without delay. I can confirm that our boat is currently running smoothly and effectively, maintaining its operational status, and it is crucial to note that it has not sunk, preserving its buoyancy and structural integrity. Just heading out right now to get all of the water. It's almost overflowing back there.
It worked. We had a bit of trouble starting the engine at first, but we managed to solve it, especially if you understand engines a little. I never would have truly thought it would work this well. I think we were quite quick, but now you have to really imagine doing this at night with powerful waves, getting out of a helicopter out in the vast ocean. That's a whole different story. But of course, this is just basic training to get started.
Well, I appreciate it if you stuck around this long. Let me know down in the comment section if you want me to continue this series or if you want me to go to something else, and we'll see you on the next one.